Hello, dear students. Good morning to all of you. In last video, that is in video number 39, we have seen some part of the temperature measurement. We will continue this temperature measurement in this video. I am here, Lalit Kumar P. Bhaiya, Associate Professor, Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering Department, Bharati College of Engineering and Technology, Durg. Let us review quickly of the last video and then go ahead. We have seen this temperature measurement. This is desirable temperature sensor characteristics. We have seen types of temperature measuring instruments, liquid in glass thermometer, bimetallic thermometers, thermocouples, laws of thermocouples, elements of thermoelectric pyrometers, resistance thermometers, thermistors, radiation and optical pyrometers, temperature balance system, heat flow balance system, and then we have seen the introduction. What is temperature? How it can be defined in various ways. The law of thermodynamics. Then we have seen temperature scales with respect to the two fixed points, ice point and steam point, and to the level of the mercury, 760 mm level of the mercury that we have seen. Fahrenheit and centigrade, these are the two most popularly used scales. Then Kelvin and Rankine temperature scale, the Reaumur scale, and some international practical scales. This Fahrenheit we have seen, as well as degree centigrade, and conversion from degree centigrade to Fahrenheit or vice versa. Kelvin and Rankine temperature scale, this formula we have seen. Degree Kelvin is equal to degree centigrade plus 273 and this is the Rankine and degree Fahrenheit formula. Already we have seen. These Rankine and Kelvin temperature scales are called absolute scales, and Reaumur scale is denoted by degree R dash, that we have seen. Degree R is the Rankine and degree R dash is the Reaumur scale. In alcohol industries it is used. Then these are the temperature measurement methods. The temperature measuring instruments are classified according to the change produced in testing body by the change of temperature. Expansion thermometers, field system thermometer, electrical temperature instruments, and pyrometer. In expansion thermometers, expansion of solids, that is bimetallic thermometer we have seen. Expansion of liquids in glass thermometer, liquid in metal thermometer, and expansion in gases, gas thermometer. This we have already seen in last video, that is bimetallic thermometer. Bimetallic strips are used. This diagram we have seen, bimetallic strip thermometer, metal A and metal B. After heating, the metal will bend and we will get the temperature. This is, we have seen thermometer with spiral bimetallic element is also there, and using this we can get the measurement of temperature. These features of bimetallic strip and spiral bimetallic strip, advantages we have seen, disadvantages we have seen. Now this another method is the liquid in glass thermometer. The liquid in glass thermometer is used much less frequently today than formerly. It is still a very commonly used device. It is frequently used in laboratory and industry also. Operation based on expansion and liquid with a rise in temperature, and expansion causes rise of liquid in tube, which indicates temperature. Description: the envelope comprises a thick walled glass tube with a capillary bore and spherical or cylindrical bulb filled with the liquid. The two parts are fused together, and the top end of the capillary tube is sealed. The size of the capillary depends on the size of the sensing bulb. Changes in temperature will cause the filled fluid to expand and rise up the stem, because this liquid is filled in the glass. The top of the tube is provided with curve shape to protect from when temperature rises out of range. The temperature range for liquid in glass thermometer is minus 18.4 degree to 608 degree Fahrenheit. That is minus 12 degree to 32 degree centigrade. For low temperature, alcohol is used as liquid in the glass tube, and for high temperature, mercury is used charged with nitrogen at pressure of 30 to 30 psi, which prevents mercury from boiling and evaporating. So these two types of liquids, mercury and alcohol, is used for the measurement of temperature. Its features: simple for use and relatively low cost, easily portable, ease of checking physical damage. Advantages: they are easy portability, independence of auxiliary equipment, low cost, compatibility with most environments, moderate ruggedness, and wide range. It has been used to measure temperature as low as 70 degree Kelvin and as high as 1000 degree centigrade. But its most frequent use is within the range from minus 40 degree centigrade to 250 degree centigrade. Disadvantages: it includes a large sensing element, impossibility for continuous or automatic readout, long time constant, backward dimensions, secular changes, and hysteresis. In special cases, hysteresis also there. Another temperature measurement along with this bimetallic expansion methods, liquid in tube. The another method is the thermocouple. The basic principle of temperature measurement by thermoelectricity was discovered by Seebeck in 1821, and hence the name is also given Seebeck effect. The basic principle of temperature measured by thermoelectricity was discovered by Seebeck in 1821. When two conductors of dissimilar metals M1 and M2 are joined together to form the closed circuit. The unequal temperature T1 and T2 are imposed of two opposite connection. The electrical current flows in the circuit. This is the typical thermocouple circuit. You can see here. This is the thermocouple having two dissimilar metals A and B. Blue color and red color is shown here. And this is the tip of this thermocouple. And this is the target surface of which we want to measure the temperature. And here is the reference ice bath. This is the ice bath, known constant temperature of reference. And this is the reference junctions. This is lead wires, and you will get the output voltage from this lead wire. As the temperature here changes, there will be expansion, there will be a heat coefficients of this A and B metal, and this will be compared with the reference point, and you will get the output here voltage, corresponding output voltage. The current flowing in the circuit is directly related to the material used and difference in the temperature applied, that is T1 minus T2. Because two metals are used, so different temperatures we can use T1 minus T2 is the total temperature. This is known as Seebeck effect. Let us see ahead also the Seebeck effect. Instrument which record the current flow calibrated in terms of temperature is degree Kelvin as thermocouple pyrometer. You can see this is called as cold junction compensation. This is the thermocouple here, and this is iron metal, and this is Constantan metal, and this is the tip where we want to measure the temperature. This is copper extension wire. This is also copper extension wire where we will get the change in voltage due to change in temperature. How could I determine the temperature of the feedback of the block? So if we want to determine the temperature of the block, then we can get the change in the voltage here. This is the diagram you can see which shows the Seebeck effect. What is Seebeck effect? A conductor generates a voltage when it is subjected to a temperature gradient. A conductor generates a voltage when it is subjected to a temperature gradient. Measuring this voltage requires the use of second conductor material. To understand this Seebeck effect, again this is thermocouple type. Here this metal is nickel chromium alloy metal, and this is nickel chromium alloy having the same material. So question is that, will I observe a difference in voltage at the ends of the two wires composed of the same material? These are having the two same materials, so shall I get the voltage at these 2 points here? So question is no. And this is another diagram you can see of the different material. This is nickel chromium alloy and this is copper nickel alloy having two different materials. The relationship between temperature difference and voltage varies with materials. So here when the temperature is measured, the change in voltage, change in this substance material and characteristics produces the difference voltage here, and hence it is important to have the two different materials like thermocouples. This is thermocouple. Here the relationship between temperature difference and voltage varies with materials. So temperature difference between these two materials will vary with voltage. This is nickel chromium and this is copper nickel alloy. So voltage Vs is equal to S into delta T. S is a factor change of surface temperature. The voltage difference of the two dissimilar metals can be measured and related to corresponding temperature gradient. Here you can see the other material needs to be composed of a different material. So this is called as the Seebeck effect. Question may be asked, what is Seebeck effect and how it is implemented using thermocouple? So you can explain this one. Later on we will see the three laws of the thermocouple. Number one is the law of homogeneous. An electronic current cannot be sustained in a circuit of a single homogeneous metal by application of heat alone. What does it say? Law of homogeneous. An electric current cannot be sustained in a circuit of a single homogeneous metal by the application of heat alone. If single homogeneous metal is used, then current will not sustain with the application of the heat. This is first law. Second law is law of successive or intermediate temperature. The EMF generated in a thermocouple with junction at temperature T1 and T2 is equal to the sum of EMFs generated by similar thermocouple. One acting between temperature T1 and T2 and other acting between T2 and T3. Then T2 lies between T1 and T2. So for this law, we have to take the two thermocouples. This law is used for making correction to the thermocouple reading when the cold and reference junction temperature is different from the temperature at which the thermocouple is calibrated. So second law of successive or intermediate temperature can be stated with respect to these two thermocouples. Third law is the law of intermediate metals. It states that the introduction of third metal into the thermocouple circuit will have no effect on the EMF generated as long as the junction of the third metal are at the same temperature. Once again I will read it. Law of intermediate metals. The introduction of third metal into the thermocouple circuit will have no effect on the EMF generated as long as the junction of the third metal are at the same temperature. Try to understand this one for the third metal introduction or when third metal is introduced. So this is the three laws of the thermocouple, and this is the diagram of the thermocouple. You can see here a two-terminal element consisting of two dissimilar metal wires join at the end. This is one metal, this is another metal, and this is joined at this end. This is called as a thermocouple, dissimilar metals. And here how it is measured with the help of thermocouple. To measure temperature using thermocouple, you can't just connect the thermocouple to a measurement system. Example, voltmeter. So just by connecting the voltmeter it is not possible in the measurement system. You have to use this junction of the thermocouple tip at which we can measure this temperature. But directly we cannot connect the voltmeter. So we require a certain circuitry. To measure temperature using thermocouple, you can't just connect the thermocouple to a measurement system. For example, voltmeter. The voltage measured by your system is proportional to the temperature difference between the primary junction, hot junction, and the junction where the voltage is being measured, that is reference junction. So what does it say? You have to use the reference junction also. So primary junction, that is hot junction, and reference junction, the voltage difference between these two will be measured then. To determine the absolute temperature at the hot junction, this one, and you need to know the temperature at the reference junction, this one. So in this way you can measure the temperature using the thermocouple. This is one of the method called as the ice bath method, forcing a temperature. Thermocouples measures the voltage difference between the 2 points. You can see here, this is unknown temperature. This is the thermocouple having this metal, and this is another metal, iron, and this is constantan, and this is iron. And here you can see reference junction. This is the ice bath. This is type J thermocouple is used here, and this is reference junction ice bath. And the difference between these two will be available as the voltage measured by the voltmeter here. Hot junction and cold junction. And this is the copper wire which will give the difference of the temperature in terms of the voltage. So this is called as the ice bath method, by which we can measure the temperature using this. So this is about the thermocouples. You can go through the different types of thermocouples. In next video, we will go about this thermoelectric pyrometer, resistance thermometer called as the RTD, and its advantages, disadvantages, and then thermistors. What is thermistor? How the change in resistance with respect to temperature. One is the PTC, that is positive temperature coefficient, and another is the negative temperature coefficients of thermistors that we will see. We will see advantages, that is disadvantages. Then pyrometer, types of pyrometer, how it is used, disadvantages, advantages, optical pyrometer, advantages, disadvantages, etc. That we will see. So in next video will be the last video of the temperature measurement. Thank you very much for listening this video. Thanks a lot.